throughout my career, and something that really supports a lot of what the industry does, right? I mean, all the growing of trees is oftentimes not seen as any real monetary value until the end of its useful life. So that said, coming into this program a couple years, it was pretty apparent that we're very much in the removal game here at the Reforestation Center and even next door at Davis Mobile Equipment, but that we haven't had much of a plan to kind of salvage what comes from that, let alone do much in the way of planting. So knowing that CAL FIRE has had a number of sawmills at its disposal, a lot of that inherited through the tree mortality task force grant funded period to kind of deal with a lot of the decadent materials that have come off of beetle-killed forest in the central and southern Sierra. We've had the capability to kind of deal with this at least at a small scale and try to make something out of what is otherwise becoming nothing. So knowing that we had some of these mills laying around, all it took was figuring out where that was. So about a year ago, talking with the old manager at Mobile Equipment, he put me in touch with another fleet manager out of Tulare unit and the whole southern region, and said, yeah, we got a few of those laying around. I said, cool, can we borrow one? And he's like, yep. All you gotta do is come down and get it. And that turned into a whole escapade that involved a lot of repairs and things that got broken to get it up here. And luckily, with a lot of diligence and follow through, we were able to get it up and running, which Tom and Michael were able to kind of see that through a little bit yesterday. So fast forward to like almost a year later and getting a low bid for a sawmill training, which is what I really wanted, because not a lot of us have really dealt with this in any real way. I wanted somebody that's proficient in its use to be able to kind of go over the major components and processes therein, especially safety too. So my hopes moving forward are that, as there are not greater priorities and needs here at the center with everything you guys do day to day, that as these materials continue to either accumulate or trees are removed for various reasons, that we can try to salvage something out of that. And hopefully after those boards are dried and able to be utilized in some way, we can think about different projects around the site and things where maybe we can start investing some of our time in woodworking. And so don't see this as necessarily your go-to, but hopefully it's something that will bring some sort of skill to your life if you're otherwise not busy in the normal day-to-day stuff. So Tom luckily was able to support this agreement and come up here from San Diego, and I know he's got a lot of experience from some time we spent interacting on the urban forestry side of things, but a sawmill is a sawmill in a lot of ways, and the trees are just part of the process, right? So I will turn it over to Tom.
And I am Tom Hamilton with Lumbercycle. Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for having me. Thank you to Jimmy for getting this organized. Thank you to CAL FIRE for funding it and funding most of my escapades. And thank you, of course, to the Lewis A. Moran Reforestation Center for existing. I love coming up here. Let's get started, shall we? Jimmy said a lot of really important things, which is, a lot of us, or you, who work in forestry and with CAL FIRE, relative to other people in the wood market, see trees and wood through a different context than you would if you were looking at it through biomass utilization and trying to create a product that can make a sustainable economy using that byproduct. And there's a lot of benefits, obviously, that come to being successful at that. And so today we're going to go over a few things. I'm just going to give you a nice little rundown of what we're going to be doing. Just a little background on me. I got my degree in education down at San Diego State University. And I studied woodworking also at Palomar College, which is where I got my introduction into urban forestry and sawmill technologies and kiln drying technologies. I worked in a place called the Wood Furniture Factory, making custom furniture for 4 years. So I was a production manager running the CNC machine, working on cabinet design, and then doing production and finishing. So I built a lot of custom furniture, utilizing a bunch of different kinds of wood. And back in 2016, I founded Lumbercycle as sort of like an extension of the urban forestry program that's happening at Palomar College. They make wood with locally sourced logs. They cut the wood, they dry the wood, and they sell it to their students for super, super cheap, way cheaper than the domestic and imported hardwoods that were coming in. For me, growing up as a less than affluent person in a disadvantaged community, that was really impactful for me when I was learning woodworking, because you had access to, a cheap and affordable wood, and you can try building stuff. So my goal with Lumbercycle was to create urban forestry sustainability by finding ways to use urban wood as a form of community enrichment in disadvantaged communities. And I was successful in getting a CAL FIRE biomass utilization grant called the National City Wood Forest Processing Facility in 2018, which lasted for 4 years. And I was able to produce tens of thousands of board feet milling, thousands of logs that I was able to put into community activist programs in disadvantaged communities of San Diego. So that was successful. And we just finished that in February of this year, which was really fun. So in my experience, I've run an Wood-Mizer LT40, which was at Palomar College. We bought our first sawmill from Palomar, which is a Wood-Mizer LT70, which is similar to the one that you guys have, but also extremely different for reasons that we'll go over. And then now we run a Wood-Mizer LT50, which came with this last grant, and a Lucas Model 7, which is a circular sawmill that comes out of Australia that we also use for processing larger diameter logs. And then of course our chainsaw mill, which we have an 8-foot bar on for milling up to 7-foot diameter or 7-foot cuts on a log, which we don't see very much, but every once in a while we get a horrific eucalyptus or a Torrey pine, which is our nice rare pines that we see down in San Diego. So those are the kinds of things. We've also run kilns. We do kiln drying technologies. We ran a vacuum kiln, Palomar College, Wood-Mizer from the 1980s, but it runs on the same principles that a lot of the modern ones do. Right now we run 2 solar kilns that we use for conditioning wood, and we run California Department of Forestry funded, that's pre-CAL FIRE, dehumidification kiln. It's a Nile L200M that we use for primarily all of our drying and sterilization for our wood before we send them out. So those are the kinds of equipment that we run. Literally every single one of them was funded by CAL FIRE. So yeah, love CAL FIRE. It's super great. So much innovation. I do grant writing. That's my primary purpose for Lumbercycle now. And that's I do that, and now I have trained people that work with me that can run the sawmills in my absence while I do a lot of the outreach and education for things. I'm a member of all of our local and state and national wood groups for urban forestry. There's the Urban Wood Network. We have the California and San Diego Urban Forestry Councils. And then we have our local San Diego Fine Woodworkers Association and Woodturners Guild, as well as our carvers and the scroll sawers, the scrollers. I'm an aspiring tree nursery manager, which is what I love coming here to learn with you guys, and I love building that relationship with you. And then I'm a community activist. So that is my background, and I'm going to try and push all of that information on you over the next day and a half, or as much time as you will give me. Today we're going to be going over a lot of the basic fundamentals of just understanding wood, not just from building out the perspective and context of wood as it pertains to your lives now and how it can pertain as you see it as a commodity that can be used in a circular economy. And we're also going to do a lot of hands-on experience with the sawmill. So Michael and I got it running yesterday. We're going to spend the first part of this morning just talking about some of the lecture stuff. We're going to go outside before lunch, and we're going to actually observe some of the logs that you have in your collection and see if we can identify some of the positive and negative attributes from the logs that you currently have. And then we'll have some lunch. And then after lunch, we're going to have a sawmill technician from Wood-Mizer come and join us, and he's going to run us through all of the regular maintenance that you would need to do on a sawmill, knowing all the spots where you need to do your lubrications, all of the things that you need to check on a regular basis. And then hopefully by the end of the day, we'll cut through one log. And then tomorrow, we're going to spend the entire time just milling. And anybody who wants to try and get some hands-on experience with the controls and Jimmy's permission, you can touch the mill, and I'll help guide you in cutting a couple of boards.
We're all self-insured, so.
Yeah, great. And I finally got my insurance paperwork in too. Good for me. So that's more or less what we're going to try and accomplish over the next day and a half. Really excited to talk to you guys about this. And most importantly, I'm hoping that you guys are going to see a lot of things that you've not seen before when thinking about wood. And I absolutely invite everybody to ask as many questions as possible, because I think the best way to learn when diving into a new perspective on things is to just, no question's a dumb question. Make sure you ask, and I'll answer to the best of my ability. And if not, I'll find the information and follow up with you. So that's what we're going to be going towards today. And this is being filmed. Hi, Mom. So future people watching, anybody watching also, this is an open invitation for anybody. Anybody can always reach out to Lumbercycle for more information or getting more resources. Lumbercycle.org is our website. Lumbercycle@gmail.com, or on Instagram and all social media at Lumbercycle. You can see my goofy videos where I wear outfits like these and do outreach and education.